Welcome back to Living 808, everybody. Coralie Chun Masayoshi is standing by as we figure out what is happening in the law with What's the Law. Coralie Chun Masayoshi, how are you doing?
Great, Mikey.
Okay, so we have a lot to cover today, so I hope everybody is paying attention. We're going to start off with two bombshell decisions by the U.S. Supreme Court that affect every American. Okay, so we're talking about abortion and gun rights. Let's first talk about abortion and how the court's decision will affect people here in the islands.
So Hawaii was the first state in the country to legalize abortion about 3 years before Roe versus Wade. John Burns was governor at the time, and he, along with State Senator Vince Yano, although they were both Catholic, they felt that abortion should be left to the individual decision of a woman and her doctor. So Governor Burns allowed the bill to pass without his signature. Now, 50 years later, the United States Supreme Court is now saying that women no longer have a federally protected constitutional right to an abortion, and therefore, it is left up to each individual state to decide when or if a woman can have an abortion and whether to make any exception for rape, incest, or to save a woman's life. So now your right to abortion depends on where you live. Fortunately, Hawaii was the first state to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, and we have strong privacy rights in our state constitution. On the other side, Missouri was the first state to activate a trigger law banning all abortions except in medical emergencies, with no exception for rape or incest, and 25 other states are poised to ban and even criminalize abortion. Some, like Texas and Oklahoma, allow private citizens to sue anyone who performs or aids or abets in an abortion and claim a $10,000 bounty. Other states, like California, are enacting laws to increase access to abortion for women traveling from out of state.
Could this be the start of limiting other rights like voting rights, contraception, and interracial or even gay marriage?
Right. Well, the Supreme Court's ruling does rest upon the argument that abortion is not specifically mentioned in the Constitution and not rooted in our history or tradition, and therefore is not protected. Similar rights to vote, contraception, interracial, and gay marriage are not specifically enumerated in the Constitution, and those rights could also be in jeopardy as well. Ironically, at the time that the Constitution was created, women were not even mentioned and had few rights, and slavery existed. Public opinion polls show that most people, especially women, don't want to go back there.
You mentioned the Supreme Court earlier. Now, does the Supreme Court also give gun owners greater rights to carry firearms in public? And if so, how will this affect Hawaii laws?
So over a decade ago, the United States Supreme Court ruled that the Second Amendment of the Constitution does protect an individual's right to have guns in their home for self-defense. But now gun owners will have the right to carry firearms publicly, either open carried or concealed. Hawaii has the lowest rate of gun violence and deaths and some of the strictest gun laws in the nation. Currently, it's up to the county police chiefs that have the discretion to allow gun owners to carry weapons in public only if they can show a reason to fear injury to their person or property. Now, this law was challenged by a Big Island gun owner, and the Supreme Court is now asking the lower court to get in line with its decision. So it looks like people in Hawaii will be allowed to carry guns concealed or openly, which is frightening. The Hawaii legislature will be looking to laws to protect the public by laws like restricting guns in places like schools or churches or large gatherings, or requiring more training or stronger requirements for buying ammunition.
A lot of information to take in, but there's a lot of information on your other podcast. And speaking of podcasts, is there any other ones that you would like to mention?
So a few weeks ago, I talked with Honolulu prosecutor Steve Alm about what's being done to crack down on home burglaries, auto theft, and smash and grabs. I also talked to Alexander Silver, the attorney who broke the Kealoha mailbox conspiracy case, about whether Keith Kaneshiro took a bribe to wrongfully prosecute someone. And my July podcasts feature the new Hawaii laws, so stay tuned.
Coralie, always great talking to you. Thank you for keeping us updated with everything that's happening in What's the Law. And everybody will have more information on KHON2.com. Thank you again, Coralie.
Thanks, Mikey. See you later.
See you.